and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet the Berry Sweet baby hat. This hat comes in 3 sizes: 6 months, newborn, and preemie. The preemie hat measures about 10 inches around. The newborn hat measures about 12 inches around, and the 6-month measures about 14 inches around. So there's some different options there for you. And of course they have different lengths as well. I'll explain all of that a little farther on in the video. But we wanted to have the 3 sizes because not all babies are born with the same size head. And this is a wonderful pattern, whether it's a boy or girl or neutral, because you don't know what it is yet. And it gives you lots of options for colors and sizes. They make great gifts, don't they? And they're super cute with the little bear ears. Now, you can find this free crochet pattern on my blog. And as always, I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. So what you're going to need to make our Berry Sweet baby hats is, of course, some yarn. And I'm using a medium weight number 4 yarn. This one is done with the Sweet Roll Frosty. This is the newborn size, of course. This is our preemie size, and it's done with Red Heart Bunches of Hugs. Now I've got a little bit of this blue that I'm going to be using for our demonstration. This is the preemie, this is the newborn, and I'm going to be doing the 3-month size for our demonstration today. So you're going to need between 1 ounce to 2 ounces depending on the size that you're making. Medium weight number 4 yarn. We're going to be stitching today with an H-hook, which is a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. You need a needle for weaving in ends and of course sewing on those cute little bear ears. And then of course you're going to need a pair of scissors. I'm going to be making the 3-month size for our demonstration today. I will be giving you the stitch counts and things like that for the different sizes as well. All 3 sizes begin the same. We're going to begin with our slip knot and chain 4. We'll join this chain 4 into a circle. We'll snug that down and tie that stay knot. Now, if you prefer to use the magic circle here, you certainly can. I just prefer this method for this project. All right, so we're going to put our hook in, pull up a loop, and chain 3. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. So our chain 3 counts as 1, and I've stitched a second one. For the preemie size, you're going to stitch a total of 8 double crochets. For the newborn size, you're going to need 10 double crochets. And for the 6-month size, we're going to have a total of 12 double crochets. You'll also notice that I'm stitching over the tail of yarn, and that's so that when I finish row 1, I can close up the hole in the center if there is one. Sometimes there is, and sometimes there isn't. It just depends. All right, let's see how many I've stitched. Here's our chain 3, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, so now we're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now remember, for the preemie size, you have 8 double crochets. For the newborn size, you have 10, and for the 3-month size, you have 12. We'll turn it over, we'll pull that yarn, we'll go ahead and grab that needle, and of course this needs to be weaved in anyway, so we can go ahead and close the hole and weave it in. And then we won't have to come back and do it later. There we go. And so there is row 1. All right, for row 2, we're going to stitch a double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3. And then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in each of those double crochets around. And this is the same for all sizes. 2 double crochets in each double crochet around. We'll stitch that all the way around and join back to our chain 3. I've completed my 2 double crochets in each stitch around. I'm going to join to my chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. So if you're making the preemie size, you're going to have 16 double crochets. If you're making the newborn size, you'll have 20 double crochets around. And if you made the 3-month size like I did, you'll have 24 double crochets around. Now for row 3, our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to stitch 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So 1 and 2. And the repeat for row 3 is 1 double crochet in the next stitch and 2 double crochets in the next. 1 and 2. 1 double crochet in the next and 2 double crochets in the next. 1 and 2. And we'll repeat this, working all the way around. And again, this is for all 3 sizes. The pattern is basically worked the same. You just have a different number of stitches each row. And of course, the smaller the hat, the less amount of stitches. So we'll repeat 1 double crochet in the next, 2 in the next, working all the way around, and join back to our chain 3. I've completed row 3, stitching 1 and 2, 1 and 2 all the way around. I'm going to join to the chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. There we go. Now, if you're doing the preemie size, you're going to have 24 stitches. If you're doing the newborn size, you're going to have 30. And if you're doing the 3-month size, you'll have 36 double crochet stitches. Join to your chain 3 and chain 3. And again, our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. We're going to stitch 1 double crochet in the next stitch. Then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in the next. So our repeat around for row 4 is 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So there's 1 and 2, and then 2 double crochets in the next stitch. 1 and 2. And so that's our repeat for row 4. And again, this is for all sizes. 1 double crochet in the next 2. 2 double crochets in the next. 1 and 2. 1, 2 and 2 double crochets in the next. And again, we'll repeat this all the way around and join back to our chain 3. I have completed row 4, stitching 1 double crochet in the next 2 and 2 double crochets in the next, join to the chain 3 and chain 3. Now, if you're stitching the preemie size, you're going to have 32 double crochets. If you're stitching the newborn size, you're going to have 40. And if you're stitching the 3-month size, you're going to have 48 double crochets. So you see the hats are stitched the same. The only difference, of course, is your stitch count. All right, now for row 5, all we're going to do is stitch 1 double crochet in each double crochet around, and this is the same for all 3 sizes. 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets around. We're all done with our increase stitches, and now we're forming the sides of the hat. And you'll notice on this row that your hat will start to curl in a little bit to form the shape of the hat. And of course, that's exactly what we want it to do. So for row 5, we're stitching 1 double crochet in each double crochet around. I have completed row 5. I joined to the top of the chain 3 and chained 3. And now what we're going to do is we're going to repeat row 5, which of course is just 1 double crochet in each double crochet around, join and chain 3. Now, for the preemie size, you're going to repeat 2 more times. For the newborn size, you're going to repeat row 5 3 more times. And for the 6-month size, you're going to repeat row 5 4 more times. All right, it's just 1 double crochet in each double crochet around, and repeat for as many times as needed for the size of hat that you're making. I completed my repeat rows, and of course I'm doing the 6-month size, so I repeated 4 times. If you did the preemie, remember, you only repeated 2 times, and if you're doing the newborn, you only repeated 3 more times. All right, and of course the 3-month size we repeated 4 more times. So now we just have 1 row left to do, and so I join to my chain 3, but this time we're only going to chain 1, and that's because we're going to do a row of single crochet around the bottom. So we're just going to stitch 1 single crochet in each of the double crochets around, and this is just going to give us a nice little edge to our hat, and it'll also help it keep its shape. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and then we'll join back to our first single crochet. And again, this is for all 3 sizes. I single crocheted all the way around, and now I'm going to join back to my first single crochet, not the chain 1, but the single crochet with a slip stitch. We'll cut that yarn. We'll go to the next stitch and pull that loop to the inside of the hat so it has a much nicer appearance. And then we'll tie off. We'll weave this in, and then the last thing that we need to do is make those bear ears, because it wouldn't be a berry sweet hat without the bear ears. All right. Let's make a berry sweet bear ear. All right, we'll start with our slip knot and we'll chain 4. We're going to stitch 9 double crochets in the 4th chain from the hook. The chain 3 will count as our first, and we need to stitch 9 more. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we have our chain 3, we counted as 1, then we stitch 9 more double crochets for a total of 10 double crochets. We're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch, and then we're going to cut our yarn. Well, we're going to leave ourselves quite a bit, about 12 inches, because we're going to use this tail of yarn to sew it onto the hat. Alright, so we'll go ahead and tie that off. Now, when you're stitching, you may end up with a little bit of a hole in the center. So we'll go on the back, thread that needle with that tail of yarn that we began with, and we'll go around those stitches and gently pull that in and gather that up. We don't want our little bear ear to have a hole in the center. Alright. Now we'll just weave that in. And like I always say, we have to weave it in anyway, so we might as well close up that hole. Make it look nice and neat. There we go. I think that's nice and snug. And so there is our bear ear. Now remember, you need 2 ears, so you need to make 2. I've already attached one to my hat, and I'll show you how to do that with this one. I've threaded that long tail of yarn on my needle, and if you look at your bear ear, you can see that there's like those little loops or braids. You want to make sure that faces the front, not the back. Alright? So, we want to line it up, and I did it about in between row 2 and row 3, but you can make them lower if you want to. I'm going to lay it forward, and I'm just going to make some whip stitches. Go through the hat, and one of the things that I have learned is that you want to try to go through stitches and fibers so that it's attached nicely. Alright, once I sew it one way like that, I lift it up, I see if I like where it's placed, and I do. And so I'll go back over so that it's attached. Just making whip stitches and going through stitches on the hat and trying to go through some of those fibers as well. It just makes it have a nice sturdy attachment, I guess is a good way to say it. Alright, so I'm going to do one more stitch, and then I'm going to go to the inside of the hat. Go ahead and pull that through, and then I'll just weave it in under here. And I know it seems like I'm doing a lot of stitches, but I want that hat to stay put. And I don't want to put any knots, or I mean I want that ear to stay put. But I don't want to sew any knots on the inside of a baby hat that might rub their precious little head. Here is the completed 6-month size Berry Sweet baby hat. This is the newborn size, and this is the preemie size. And these cute little Berry Sweet baby hats are great in any colors, neutrals, pinks, blues, stripes, variegated, and they make great gifts.